No Titan is made equal, but within the deepest reaches of humanity's terrible past, there lies a long-forgotten crypt, not seen in over 10 millennia. Fearful whispers persist of their terrible powers and dark influence. These are the Psi Titans, heralds of the Ordo Sinister, the 25 monster titans that not only slaughtered the traitors during the Siege of Terra, but butchered the 1,000 souls of Prospero, broke our very timeline, and exemplify the God Emperor's utter contempt to following the laws of physics. So today, let's see how powerful a Psi Titan of the Ordo Sinister truly is. First, we will go over their lore, covering their known war gear, their possible origins, why the Emperor made them in the first place, and what it is like to fight one of them, ending with a ranking on the 40K power scale. So stick around until the end to find out what makes Psi Titans so powerful, and so you can properly argue with your friends that the Imperium is the most evil faction in all of 40K. The tyrannic pattern Warlord Sinister Psi-Titan is the Emperor's maddening ingenuity made manifest into steel and iron, where young sons were taken by him and his armies and reforged into his Angels of Death, the God Engines taken through the Oblation, where the Emperor essentially titled the Adeptus Mechanicum of Mars for a part of their Titan legions, saw the newly developed Warlord Titans, the pride of the Mechanicum, broken and remade, crafted into God Engine hybrids of the corporeal and the incorporeal. This is where the remnant technologies of the Age of Strife were violently combined and forced to adapt to the horrors of the Dark Age of technology. It is said that 25 Titans were taken away by the Emperor, yet only 20 were ever heard of again, breaking free of their physical limitations and flourishing as the night-clad engines of the Ordo Sinister. As the Emperor's left hand, the Psi Titans fought without hesitation during the Great Crusade, following the words of only him, not his Primarchs, not his Angels of Death, not even his Custodes. The Ordo Sinister only ever acted upon the Emperor's direct command. Whatever remained of the Ordo and their Psi Titans following the Siege of Terra is unknown, falling into obscurity as millennia passed, but we know something for certain. They are still down there, 19 survived, standing deep within buzzing crypts, their markings and glyphs glowing with potential, waiting for the day they can be deployed once again. The primary distinction between the God Engines of the Ordo Sinister and those of the same Warlord class within the Mechanicum Titan Legios is the superstructure of the Psi Titan itself. More specifically, what the Emperor of Mankind forced into the core of these forsaken God Engines, the Siricrux Anima. A massive matrix array that essentially replaces the MIUs, or the Mind Impulse Units, with which the Princeps and the Moderati of a Titan usually commune and control the machine spirit, inadvertently becoming one with it. In the case of the Psi Titan, the Siricrux Anima was designed to follow the same logic, but instead of feeding upon willpower, it feeds upon the psychic connection of its crew and unfortunate payload, drawing its strength together into what is quite possibly a human version of an Eldari Infinity Circuit, or kinda similar in the same way Spirit Stones are used to power raid constructs, just with a fun human twist. Through the amplification of the Titan crew's psychic powers and their forced soul extraction, the Matrix activates and follows the will of the Princeps, allowing feats that should not be possible following the laws of physics, from the ability to teleport, to reverting the timeline so the Titan didn't actually die, to making enemy ordnance disappear into thin air just for having the gall of shooting at these monsters. However, of course, as is normal in 40K, there is a price to pay for these insane powers. Each time the Matrix is activated, it suckles up the power and literal life force of those on board. For this purpose, every Psi Titan in preparation for war is loaded up with an unknown number of Alpha and Alpha Plus level Psychers to use as figurative energy banks. Locked in either stasis or Psycho-resistant caskets, the Siricrux Anima taps into their soul for every action, burning them out by the dozens, if not hundreds, through the course of a single engagement. On top of the base equipment of a Warlord, 130 inches of current-day steel armor, and the Theta Maximal plasma reactor to power its normal machinery parts. The Psi Titan also exudes an aura of raw terror, due to the dreams and nightmares of its enslaved captives and the raw disobedience of the laws of physics. Waves of horror wash outwards and shut down firing lines, disorientate commanders, and rout regiments of mortals and xenos off the battlefield before they can even process of what just happened to them. The second biggest break in the holy design of the Warlord is its cockpit, more specifically the head of the Titan. In order to utilize the power of its Dark Age technologies, Psychers were forced to replace the position of Moderati, locked into their seats and fed like batteries to power up the majority of its defenses and offensive arsenal. To bring order to the cacophony of the psychic anguish, the nature of the psykers must be carefully chosen, even if all required must be among the most potent found, alpha level or beyond. Their usage in a Psi Titan differs wildly. Some are condemned to torture for their countless sins or punishment for the sake of sacrifice. Others are kept in a state of bliss, their power siphoned by the Matrix to suit the mind of the all-knowing void within. The burden of being a psyker lifted through servitude. Between the pain and bliss of the psykers trapped within the control room of the Titan, equilibrium takes form. The perfect medium in which optimal conditions can enable the Ordo Sinister to unfold its vilest strength. One side is pain incarnate, and the other side is bliss incarnate. In the case of the Princeps themselves, to survive the endless violent winds of the warp originating from the Matrix, the Princeps must be seated within a shielded command crucible, a special capsule that protects them from the seeping warp energies and draining effect of the Matrix. Through countless configurations and many trials and errors, it was established that it was not possible to ward off the effects of the warp in full. To this end, the Emperor resorted to changing the requirements for which one must be chosen. Renamed as the Princeps Attendant, all those who are given the role of pilot of a Psi Titan of the Ordo Sinister must bear the pariah gene, also known as blanks. Only through complete immunity to the Immaterium can they ignore the excessive energies produced. Unlike the Sisters of Silence and the Colexis Assassins, however, the Princeps follow an unknown but different criteria. For only 1 in a billion is a strong enough blank, and only 1 in a billion of those can become a Princeps and tame the machine spirit. With the removal of the mind impulse units and the lack of moderati, the Princeps intended are required to undergo a level of cybernetic implementations to fully connect to the Titan. To lessen the strain upon their mind, multiple subsystem automata and machine spirit homunculi are utilized, overall lowering the impact of the machine spirit upon the valuable Princeps. Now with the blank Princeps, half happy and half sad moderati, and the Siricrux Anima Matrix explained, let's talk about some weapons. More specifically, the Sinistra Manus Tenebrae. Upon first look, you might think it's a massive Psi cannon as wielded by the Grey Knights, but this could not be further from the truth. The Tenebrae is closer to a warp drive than an actual weapon, one of the most horrific and cruelest inventions that mankind has produced in recent memory. Directly fed through the power of the Siricrux Anima, the Tenebrae projects a rupture into reality, essentially a localized vortex grenade, without throwing an actual grenade. It is described as generating projected spheres and bolts of crackling darkness, devouring all light in its vicinity as nothingness manifests. Upon impact with physical matter, the projectiles detonate with horrid power, the fabric of reality hurling itself into the warp, molecule by painful molecule, until everything that was raptured is instantly evaporated. For those found further away from the initial blast radius, damnation awaits as they fall dead within the blink of an eye. Without wounds or any kind of injuries, pristine bodies collapse onto the ground as if taken by an unknown demon. It is said that the instantaneous death could only be matched to the soul being forcefully taken from the body. The level of destruction continuing without stop, and the Sinistra Manus Tenebrae being able to fire without stop until its psyker batteries violently extinguish. Nothing is safe from the blast. No mortal, no Astartes, and no Titan. All suffer the same horrible death. Even if the long list of vortex weapons has a higher level of effectiveness and punch, nothing beats the Tenebrae of the Ordo Sinister. For it is not only a weapon of destruction, but the fear of its mere existence is enough to make any Chaos Lord that witnesses these god engines second guess their choices. Although superficially different from their unblessed kindred, the Psi Titans of the Ordo Sinister have never had any recorded material differences in their construction from the standard Warlord Titan. Their plates are still built from the capitalist Magnus grade ceramide adamantine alloys. While being the highest grade of the most effective material known to the Imperium, it is nothing different from what, for example, a Gloriana or Emperor class Titan is constructed of. Of course, the psychic might and waves of despair and being able to literally turn back time makes a massive difference in its endurance. But construction-wise, surprisingly, it is not that special when it comes to its armor plates. Now, there are psychic runes etched into the armor of these cursed warlords, their black adamantine and ceramide hides being lit up as they ward away attacks from both demons and witches, similar to the hexagrammatic wards carved into the Aegis power armor of the Grey Knights. Both act as a form of protection against the warp and a way to bolster their might. These symbols of power, as everything within 40k, give them extra abilities, as words with meaning and intent hold power over the Immaterium. Now, with the base lore and equipment out of the way, let's take a look at some of its stories and a couple of excerpts where we see the full extent of the Ordo Sinister's Psi Titan powers. We all know of the terrible burning of Prospero, but an often overlooked battle fought on the Thousand Sons homeworld is that of the epic clash of titans to destroy the Zau Arcad subfane, also known as a Titan factory or manufactorum, present on Prospero. To understand this battle, we must quickly explain Legio Mortis and Legio Cystobiax. Mortis is perhaps the greatest and mightiest Titan Legio ever created, possessing the most experienced princeps and the best Titans within the entire Imperium. Although initially forbidden by Leman Russ to deploy, 12 Mortis Titans would come down to destroy the forces of Zau Arcad. The defense of Zau Arcad came primarily in the form of 12 Legio Cystobiax Titans. Legio Cystobiax was classified as a third-rate Legio and thought to be easy pickings for Mortis. Although equal in number, Mortis fielded more experienced princeps and heavier Titans. But in a rather shocking turn of events, the forces of Mortis would be absolutely obliterated, even with the support of multiple Knight Lances. Although possessing less experienced crews and lower quality Titans, Cystobiax modified each of them with dark and usually forbidden designs, such as psycho-reactive iron cores, which allowed the princeps to fight with unparalleled coordination. Essentially, they were battle robots. Pretty cool. This battle would go down as the biggest and most shameful defeat in Legio Mortis' history, were it not for the intervention of the Ordo Sinister. Even hidden from the Primarch Leman Russ, 3 Psi Titans were deployed to Prospero, and although greatly outnumbered and possessing little to no support elements, the 3 monstrosities of Ordo Sinister would leave behind nothing but molten slag and ash. So yes, Psi Titans can easily kill enemy Titanicus maniples in a matter of just a couple of hours. But how about the Eldar? During a series of battles known as the Defense of Heliored, the Eldar of the half-shattered craft world known as, and I'm gonna butcher this name, Magic Citral, descended upon the Imperium with insane bloodlust and grief, desiring to make humanity feel the same pain as they did from their own fall. Entire worlds were scoured of life, synthetic plagues fused flesh into bloody crystal, and both fractured moons and orbital stations were dropped onto worlds. The Imperial army was mustered to hold the line, yet even with the intervention of the Mechanicum armies, including the deployment of half a Titan Legio, it was nearly not enough to stop the Xenos rampage. Only when Sanguinius and a third of the Blood Angels Legion arrived was the tide of battle turned, yet even they could not defeat the insane Eldar until the arrival of the Sisters of Silence, and more importantly, a maniple of 3 Psi Titans. During a direct assault on the craft world, the Blood Angels were stopped dead in their tracks by the appearance of dozens of Eldar Ray Titans led by the Witch Idol, a Titan made from the souls of all fallen seers of the craft world. With the Titans of Legio Furion having already fallen, the 3 Psi Titans made the very craft world shudder, as every Wraith and living Eldar upon it started screaming in agony. When the Eldar unleashed their weapons and psychic might upon the Ordo Sinister, it would be negated by an ice-white blaze of force surrounding the Dark Titans. This battle was the truest clash of god engines, as Sanguinius withdrew his Blood Angels. The trio of Psi Titans would nearly destroy the entire craft world in their titanic clash with the Eldar Ray Titans and their Witch Idol master. The battle raged until only the Witch Idol stood, its head ripped from its shoulders by a Psi Titan, and as suddenly as they appeared, the 2 remaining Warlords disappeared, dragging their fallen brother along with them. In the aftermath, the death of the Witch Idol caused the death of the craft world, as its last remaining defenders were cut down by the Blood Angels and the Sisters of Silence. The craft world itself would be yeeted into a nearby sun, as punishment for its crimes against humanity. A single human-sized opponent is no threat to any Titan, even when said opponent is a Space Marine or Demon. But when fighting broke out all over the Emperor's Webway project, the forces of the Mechanicum, Legio Custodex and Sisters of Silence would be pushed back by never-ending tidal waves of demons. The Neverborn swarmed in such incomprehensible numbers, it would even put the Tyranids to shame. Entire Titan Legios were crushed beneath the weight of the unending tidal wave. The Emperor had enough. Over a dozen Psi Titans materialized into the Light Realm. When Borealis Toon, one of the Ordo Sinister Psi Titans, entered the Webway, it held an entire tunnel for 9 hours until the swarm appeared. Demons of all shapes and sizes, a rolling horde of nightmares made manifest came for the lone Warlord Sinister, and when they finally impacted upon him, the demons broke and reeled. Lesser entities dissipated just by being too close. Larger demons were broken by a mix of titanic firepower and psychic wailing waves. Even when greater demons and what could only be described as demonic titans appeared, they would be evaporated with only 2 alpha level psychers expended, Toon reloaded, ready for the next threat. a demonic serpent appeared, and with his massive power claw, Borealis wrestled the serpent back, holding it off just long enough for the new batch of Psykers to be awoken. With a new supply of power, the serpent was frozen and slowly crushed. Toon turned back the greater part of a near-infinite tide, and although permitted to withdraw, it did not stop fighting until the Emperor was interred upon the Golden Throne. We have one more excerpt to cover before the power skill. So, how does a Psi Titan rebuild itself? During the Siege of Terra, Asina Mortis, we get a really good example. With the widespread worship of chaos by the traitor forces, Legio Mortis had grown to new heights of power as their god engines became one with demonic entities. The loyalist titans were struggling, the demonic forces were pushing them back. Warlord Titan Reginae Furorum was ordered to shoot its vortex missile into the middle of nowhere, but the princeps refused. A voice spoke in his mind. Kadamia spoke, mistress of one of the Ordo Sinister Titans. With a winch, Reginae Furorum shot its missile. A rift opened next to Legio Mortis, a shudder, a flash, and two massive traitor warlords were sucked into the ether. Kadamia stepped forward from behind Furorum and ran into the vortex, rematerializing 200 yards away with complete pristine and fresh armor. Somehow, the death of the Titan had reformed it in a different location. Less than 8 hours later, the Imperator Titan known as Is A would fell the Psi Titan Kadamia. Now for the power skill level. For 40k we used a definitely scientifically proven rating of 40 Warhammers. If a Guardsman is 1 Warhammer, a Space Marine equals 10 Warhammers, and the Emperor of Mankind is about 40 Warhammers. How many hammers can we give to the Psi Titan? As shown by the lore and excerpts we have covered today, the Psi Titans of the Ordo Sinister are in a completely different league compared to any other weapon employed by the Imperium. There's no question if it could beat any Titan of a similar or smaller size, and with them being able to take on multiple Titans at once, breaking open the formation of entire maniples, and even challenging the Dies Irae, the most formidable Imperator Titan in the galaxy. The Psi Titan might only find a true challenge in the likes of Abominatus or the Castigator Titan. And with that, I rank the Psi Titan at 35 out of 40 Warhammers. It has shown that it can punch far above its weight class, and honestly, it makes me wonder if it could even make the Emperor of Mankind regret his decision to create them. And that does it for today. Which is your favorite Titan and why? Do you think I should have given the Psi Titan a higher or lower score? If you guys know of any more excerpts or crazy Psi Titan feats, post them down in the comment section below. I would love to read them and learn even more about these living metal nightmares. What else should I cover in the How Powerful is X series? Please let me know your suggestions down below. Subscribe if you enjoyed the video, like if you haven't already, and I'll be seeing you in the next one. Bye bye.